My name is Jimmy Purdy, shop owner, master tech, transmission builder, and the host of the Gearbox Podcast. Here I talk with new and seasoned shop owners, as well as industry professionals about day-to-day operations within their own shops and all the failures and successes that come along the way. From what grinds your gears to having to shift gears in the automotive industry, this is the Gearbox Podcast.
It sounds like you're in a closet or...
They say the theme is the Antique Roadshow. That's what everyone says. It sounds like you're watching the Antique Roadshow.
I see that, yeah.
It
has that,
huh?
yeah. In this audience, I brought my grandma's closet, and...
It's funny how everybody knows that damn show. That's the best part about it, is like everybody actually knows that show. I thought we all just kind of watched it in secret, you know? It was like our own little guilty pleasure. But everybody's watching it.
It's not something I tune into, but if it was there for like 5 minutes, like, oh, I wonder how much this dumb thing's going to go for.
That's all it takes.
Ridiculous. Right?
That's all it takes is like 2 or 3 minutes and you're like freaking hooked.
Yep.
Let's look at this thing. I feel like my mic doesn't pick up as much noise as yours.
Okay.
But you sound good there. Cool, man. Apex 2024. This is your first time at Apex, huh?
It is, yeah.
It's rad.
It's a good time. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming, but it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, you're an accomplished shop owner.
It feels like that some days.
It's always like that, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the setbacks are probably a lot less. They're more minor now than they probably were in your earlier part of your career.
They're easier to take, right? Like, so now it's when things are happening and things aren't going as well as you'd planned or hoped. You're not as thrown off by them, right? You're kind of like, okay, we're just going to have to fix this a little bit, make some adjustments, put this thing back on track, or, the election's going to happen and we're going to be slow right before it, and it's going to happen. Whatever happens.
Do you think it's like a mentality that you've gained, or do you think it's the process you've put in place?
It's the mentality, I'd say, not the process, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like business is war, right? And so once you get a little war hardened, it's easier to take, right?
Especially the automotive business.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
We just get chewed up and spit out, and all the stigmas, right?
They're all there.
The negative reviews.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can't get away from it.
Yeah. I got a negative review yesterday, a 1-star review on Yelp, which I dislike Yelp, because we text them Happy Thanksgiving. And that was a harassment.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, I want to blast this guy just for, no, okay, we're going to say nice things again today.
So I guess that never goes away, then, is what you're saying. You're always vindictive a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. But now I have good people around me, so I can soundboard things real well and get it off my chest.
Larry, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Larry, no.
Yes.
Put it down.
Please stop.
It's an interesting process as you go through everything, right? And I feel like you have really good people at your shop now, right?
I have fantastic people. I focused on people a couple of years ago because I didn't understand the importance of them, and it was a game changer for me. That's really allowed me to get to the level of success that I thought I should be at, was really honing in on people, right?
Yeah. And you brought up that text, right? Like the automated stuff. Do you think a lot of these programs now that are kind of like hip and trendy, do you think they're like a splash in the pond, or do you think that this is stuff that we really need moving forward, right? And you have the experience to see the evolution of it, right?
It's tough. There's always something new, shiny object over here. Yeah. There's always a company doing better than the last company. But man, they always seem to fall short. It always seems to be, when all these things come out, they promise the world and deliver half of what they say. Yeah. And so it's hard to know which ones to follow and which ones not to, right? So
I guess whatever works and whatever. Well, one of the things too is you're looking to fix a problem, right? So you look at these new programs, these new what do you call them? Businesses, right? Or new things that are coming out. Yeah. And it's trying to fix a problem that doesn't even exist in a sense, right? Like, do we need automated texting going out? Is that a hole in our shop that we needed to fill?
I agree with you. A lot of these things are things that you don't need. Let's say, for example, do you need an AI chat bot on your website? I really feel that those are going to cause you more problems than good. Yeah. But they're being pushed real heavily now, and I'm like, those are awful things. People want human connections. They know it's an AI chatbot, so I don't subscribe to some of that stuff just because of it. Right?
Yeah, that's the tough part about it. It makes your life so easy, and then it's very easy to cut through that shit, and you can see no, that's obviously chat GBT generated, right? Like
Yep.
we all know that, but we think for some reason because we're doing it that someone else isn't going to notice.
Yeah.
Like they say, a person is smart, but people are dumb, right? So they think because you're sending out to mass groups of people, they're too dumb, they're not going to figure it out. But it's like you said, it goes out to that one person, and that one person saw it and was like, "Get left to a bad review," right?
Yeah.
It's like this isn't from Larry.
No. Yeah. And they know, like you said, they know. Yeah. I always struggle. Like I look at things where like all these products that are thrown at us. It's like maybe I don't want them. Maybe it's not what I would normally gravitate towards, but maybe my customers do. So it's trying to figure out what really fits, what really works. Because like I'm not a coupon guy. All the little things that they throw at us, like the you go shopping at Safeway or whatever, and they give you a card and enter your phone number. I hate all those things, But I do some of that stuff for my customers because they seem to love it, right? So sometimes I gotta balance what I want and what they want.
Over your years of experience, you've probably realized that you have like 2 or 3 different types of, who knows, maybe 10 types of personalities. But the big one I kind of see is you got the guy that doesn't want to fix their car, only wants to fix bare minimum. You got the other one that wants to fix every damn thing that's wrong with it, right? And trying to find a system that makes everybody happy.
Don't drop off the bottom ones that don't want to fix them.
That's the advice, huh?
Get rid of them as fast as you can, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like people really make the difference. My service advisor, she is amazing at getting rid of that person. Like she can have a conversation, and she does it nicely, but she's doing it in a way that is making that person that she feels is not going to be the right person in our shop not come in. And if she's questionable, maybe she'll be a little softer, And if she thinks like, oh no, this person's just digging on price, and we are not as super competitive on price. We're not ridiculously expensive, but it's not our strongest thing. And so, because we are trying to be profitable, we're trying to have nice things for our employees, and it all comes at a price, right?
Yeah.
And so she's really, really good at making those judgments, on the fly, on the phone, to kind of not get us in those situations.
Yeah, it's smart too, because that leads to a whole different aspect, right? And it's a lot of things that we try to get away from, I guess, as you start evolving.
Yeah.
It was through my growing process was one of the things I had to do was do that, right? If you don't want to pay to come in, then I don't understand what you want from me.
Yeah. It has to be mutually beneficial, right? Not one way.
And then it goes like the cheap oil changes and the free diagnostics, and it feels like the evolution kind of like resets, right? And I see as we've moved into a bigger shop or we've gained more space, I'm thinking more of those lines of, man, how do we increase traffic now? And the first thought you have is price, right? For my brain, it's like, the first thing we want to do is attract more people. Well, let's lower our prices, because I feel like I forgot what a pain in the ass it was to get rid of all those people that didn't want to pay,
Yeah.
And so it's really refreshing to like start thinking, wait a second, if I go back in time, do I even want to expand with those people, right?
No. We've learned things over the years tremendously, right? We would get slow, and we would take the wrong cars in. And we have a rolling, year. We only take 20-year-old cars, right? And so we get slow. That would creep up a little bit, or we would adjust.
Start making some exceptions.
Oh yeah, every time, and we hated it every single time. And some of these customers, they're still a bad customer. They potentially are a bad customer, and you invited them into your house, and now you have to keep serving them. And man, it just doesn't go well, right? And so you learn the hard ones. Say knowing is hard, right? And not letting that line slide.
Not hitting the panic button, right?
Yeah.
I think it's anxiety. I think like what you said, getting war hardened.
Mm-hmm.
That's what helps that, right? Because
Yeah.
as soon as you get slow, like you know it's going to happen, and
It's
there's nothing. And experience is the only thing that can teach you that, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so. I mean, I'm a slow learner, so I don't. I gotta learn the hard way every single time.
Don't we all, man?
Yeah.
That's why we do this every day, I guess.
It's tough though. I mean, so we got a shop full of technicians and service advisors. We're trying to keep everybody happy, keep them, busy and employed, and nobody wants to go home early because we're slow that day. And so it's hard to hold that line sometimes. But,
yeah.
It's the important thing we have to keep doing.
Well, that's one of the segues too that goes into like getting into a coaching program, right? And trying to go that route and trying to make sure that you're still sticking to your own morals instead of just abandoning them all and listening to what this quote unquote coach or facilitator is telling you, right?
Yeah.
And you've been through a few, and we were actually together in a group process, right?
Yep.
Until recently. And there's so many different aspects. And so I want to ask you, as far as your experience going through different coaching programs, how do you feel about the one-on-one coaching versus like the group process?
They're both different. I mean, so really, I think no matter what coaching is, whether it's one-on-one or the group process, it's really about, are you ready to do it, right? And are you willing to do it, right? Like, so let's talk about the group process, for example. I've seen it go different ways. I've seen it where you have a room full of people that are driven and successful people and really want to just keep pushing the envelope of success. And that group has synergy and they move things along. And then I've seen it where I've been in a 20s group years ago that nothing ever changed. It was they would come, every quarter, they'd have a group meeting, and nobody would actually do any of their commitments. There was no follow through, and that stuff doesn't work, right? And so, but it really came down to those people they were at the time older people that were getting close to retirement, and they were looking for the way out, and they've been so set in their ways they weren't going to change anything about their business, right? Yeah, you have to be ready to learn, right?
It's all about the people you surround yourself with, I guess, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why it's so different between like when the overarching like get a facilitator, get a coach, right? Like, what does that even mean? Well, like, because there's so many different avenues and possibilities that you could take. And for me, it's our first experience going through a process like that, and so getting a different take, a different aspect is going to be nice, obviously. But it's tough for me with the amount of experience that I have to see myself as being part in a group process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what right do I have to tell another shop that they should change anything, right?
Yeah.
That's tough for me to swallow.
It's a challenge because sometimes you look at something like, you're telling me this? Like, I've seen your business. I've seen what you do.
Well, that, and then the other side of it, for me to walk in and just say, hey, you should do it like this.
Yeah.
Even though I'm here like doing this podcast and I try to put out as much information as I can, it's different when you walk into someone's home and you're like, hey, your carpet's dirty, your curtains are crooked, and it's like, that's their house. Like, let them do whatever they need to do to be successful.
Yeah.
Right?
It's tough because it's always easier to critique somebody else, right? It's hard to go home and do it yourself, right?
Yeah, that's true. On your own stuff.
Yeah.
To look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe I'm screwing up.
Yeah, maybe I'm the problem, not everybody else. Yeah.
So I want to segue back to your recent epiphany when it comes to leadership, because I think that's a key component that's really lost for a long time. What was your epiphany when it came across that really set you down that path?
This is perfect because I know exactly when and where it happened. I mean, it's really just ridiculous. Cecil was a one-on-one coach with me for years.
Okay.
And he was kind of prodding me. He was like, you need to get your stuff together. You're not doing this. Why aren't you doing this? And he said, you need to go out and hire the absolute best technician you can possibly find. And it seemed like a daunting task. Where do I find this person? How do I get them? I had a technician that left me. I hired at one of the staffing companies and just combed through people after people after people or technicians. And I finally hired a guy and paid him way more than I thought I should be paying a technician. But I set some clear expectations. Cecil kind of helped say, you need to define these things very, very well with this person. When that person came on board and got up to speed, oh my gosh, that person worked completely independently. I did not have to micromanage or manage this person nearly at all. He worked within the guidelines that we established and just chowed down work, got things done. And I was like, wow, that is amazing. I've never seen this before because I was hiring the wrong people. I was pulling the wrong people towards me unknowingly, right? And so I saw that happen and it was magic. And so I just said, nope, we're going to go down and just keep doing the same thing over again. I'm going to keep finding better and better and better people. And we replaced the entire staff except one person.
Wow.
And now I'm here and they're at work doing an awesome job. And I don't have to think about it because I know I have the right people just doing it. So
easier said than done, I guess, huh?
Absolutely. Well, it's hard. It's hard when you have a person that does fairly well in certain things and they're not perfect, right? And you got to keep looking for the best people. And maybe you got a person that's okay, but not perfect. You need to keep looking for that perfect person, right?
Yeah.
And it's like anything else. Like your circle of friends, you become who you surround yourself with. So if your business is not the greatest of people, it can never be the greatest of business, right?
Yeah. Looking from the inside, the tough part is obviously finding those people, but then like constantly keeping and holding those people accountable is the other side of it.
Yeah.
What kind of things have you learned when it comes to leadership to keep those guys? Because those guys, those unicorns, those top level A techs are the hardest to find their motivation and keep them motivated. What have you found to keep that line of communication open?
So we, about a couple years ago now, we started using a modified EOS business model. So it's entrepreneurial operational system. And what it allowed us to do, we have weekly or bi-weekly meetings to discuss anything that's going wrong in the shop. So if there's a problem, we're trying to flush it out constantly, right? And then it allows us to have an open communication with all of the staff so that nothing ever becomes a major issue, right? The cool thing is there's very little we always have something to talk about, but it doesn't, there's no major obstacles ever occur because we've already talked about it. So if we're having a parts ordering process, if we're selecting the wrong grade of brake pads or, whatever that would be, we talk about it pretty quickly because we identify them very quickly and then it just stops. And so being consistent. And then one of the elements that the EOS model helped us with was having a structure to follow. And so we have our things we talk about, and then we have a follow-up the very next meeting. Hey, are these things on path? And if not, we need to go talk about them again and get them back on path. So it's constantly just, going through that cycle.
I think that's a pretty critical part of it. The meetings are one thing, right? Like, it's easy to set up a meeting. It's hard to actually execute the meeting.
Yeah.
And it's even harder to get people to talk in the meeting. Like,
yeah.
It's like this is like gradient that just keeps, and then like the follow-up is even like, wait, what did we talk about last week? Right?
Oh, yeah.
How's the buy-in process? Like, was it like the third meeting, the second meeting, the first meeting? How is it that you get the buy-in to get that feedback? Because that's what's the critical part of it.
It's tough. I mean, sometimes if buy-in's 100%, and other topics, they don't care as much, right? It's not as important to them. Surprisingly, once you get that ball rolling, it seems to take over itself. They seem to expect it. I feel the accountability is the key, right? Because years ago, I've always had meetings with staff, and it would always be that thing where we talk about doing this differently, and then we would leave the meeting and we would do it differently that day, the next day, next week would fall off.
Yeah.
And nobody would visit back to it.
Right.
So now we don't allow that cycle to happen. And so since the staff sees it being more and more committed, we're holding everybody more accountable, they're more involved in it as well. Right. So
sounds another one that sounds easier said than done.
Absolutely.
But I think it's like you said, the consistency and the repetitive of it.
Yeah.
And then holding your own self accountable to make sure you're holding them accountable, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And is that something that you found you've kind of created on your own, or was there like a certain aspect of coaching that helped you with that? Or
so I am terrible with accountability because I have all these great ideas and I don't want to do any of them. Yeah, like here, everybody, you do these things that I've thought of, and I'll follow if you had never.
Yeah.
Luckily, again, the right people. So I have a manager, store manager, and he's the one that puts the meeting together. He's the one that puts the agenda together, and so he's more focused on the accountability, and it really works because it just, the process, just keep working the process.
I see. When it comes to leadership and trying to, the motivation, I feel like is your spot, right?
Yeah.
Where you're going to shine.
Yep.
Is it always financial? Does it takes to motivate everybody, or what else have you found to keep that? Because he's just not doing it for the goodness of his heart and soul, right? Or maybe he is, but there's got to be a little bit of your influence that's helping him say, hey, we need this meeting done because this helps me, my job, makes my job easier, but there's got to be some incentive for him. Is it always financial for you, or do you find some other thing that keeps him engaged?
So everybody's financially motivated to an extent, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think they're doing it intrinsically. They want business to succeed. They want to feel like they're part of something that's moving well, right, and making a difference in the community. They don't want to do it just for $1. If all it was $1 or $10, whatever the number is, that fizzles out real fast, right? And granted, we still do things. Like, for example, we're having a struggle with getting social media pictures, and so I have $100 bills, on my wall. Like, whoever, gives the most social media content this next 2 weeks gets that $100 bill. So there's money plays a part in it to try to get the action to come through sometimes. Yeah. But more of it is having the right people that want to do a good job, and they feel that they need to do a good job. If it was just about money, they probably wouldn't do it as much. Right?
Yeah, I was going to circle that back to it. Sounds like you just need the right people.
Yeah.
And that also sounds like a Dave's Auto Center thing, right?
Oh, the guy in Utah?
The video where he's like, do you follow me? And he's like giving everyone $100
bill.
Hey, you know what? If it works, it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've tried those different processes too for our shop and say, hey, if you guys post a video and whoever gets the most likes or whatever, there's a financial incentive. But
It never takes off as well, huh?
No, and you
It
would
never
think
does, yeah.
all you got to do is post a picture to a video, and try to do a program and process and all that. I never had success with it. But I guess you just can't give up, right? Like, you just got to keep pushing it.
You got to keep pushing. Well, and so like as we were walking through today, I took a Tesla class earlier today, and I texted my staff pictures of me taking a Tesla class for social media. So I'm involving myself in this little contest we have for that $100 bill. Does he need to be involved? They need to be part of it. I need to be part of it. We all need to push each other to keep doing better, right?
Yeah.
If it was just the $100 bill, I don't think it would work as well. So it's a constant reminder that we're
So
working
have you seen better success with that kind of that drive that way?
If I'm involved with it and I'm helping push it. Yeah.
I see.
Right.
You think a lot of guys get to that point where they just want to be an absentee owner and they forget that they got to keep themselves involved?
I think everybody has that goal, but I think it's almost slightly unrealistic. Because nobody's going to love your business the way you love your business. Nobody's going to take care of the people, either your customers or your employees the way you're going to take care of them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you achieve that 100% absentee. You'd have to have a really, really high-level manager to be filling those shoes. And as a one-shop owner, I don't see that possible, right? I mean, it's you can get close, and I'm pretty close, but I think it's tough, right?
You're still involved.
Yeah.
You still got to stay on top of things. You still got to take a Tesla class.
Yeah, right. You got to know what's going on in the world. Yeah.
Do you do that out of pure just curiosity, or are you going to use that?
So, both. I mean, I'm a tech. I mean, I grew up as a technician, so I find all this stuff fascinating. Like, why does it do this? How does this work? Why does it work this way? It keeps me engaged, right? It does help me flesh out the things that I need to push my technicians to go get more training on, right? So if I understand it and I see value in it, I can tell them, hey, here's a good place to get training. Here's a good information. And so they're not wasting their time with, these random classes that suck,
Yeah, that's very fair when it comes to training, because that's probably one of the biggest things that happens. You go to a training class, you go to 2, you go to 3, and it's just a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
No buy-in. Everybody's got their head down. No one's asking questions. It's a bunch of garbage content. And you're like, why am I here? I'm never doing training again.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're a technician. You've been to those classes when it's like the teacher's just presenting this book of garbage to you, and it's like, I just did my whole Saturday with this.
And they're just reading page by page, line by line.
Right.
Why? What?
What is going on here?
Just showing you a video. Here, I found this really cool YouTube video, and then they start showing you some repair. Like, is that scanner data? You're showing me a scanner? I paid for this shit right now?
Yeah. I can subscribe to this. I don't need you.
Why am I here right now? Yeah, it's one of the polarizing things about training that a lot of people try to stay away from. Do you still find yourself having to jump in though on the floor?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, very seldom, but it happens, but very seldom, right? I mean, to be honest, the technicians I have now are better technicians than I am. I mean, I think rightfully so. I'm stepping out of the technician role almost 100%, and they are great people that are very highly trained and highly skilled. And so, we also set up processes so that if they do become stuck on something, they have another outsource for it. So we use Diagnation, Identifix, things like that. So I am not the first resource. There's many of the resources first, and then if they exhaust those, let's go. We can collaborate and figure something else out.
What's your role then? Where do you put yourself in? When you're there? What are your tasks that you put on your plate?
Business development stuff. Trying to make sure the business is moving forward in a good quality direction.
Okay.
So like right now, I'm rewriting all my processes and my employee manuals and putting them in a better package. Always looking at marketing, trying to make sure we have a good marketing plan for the year, and then looking at financial forecasting.
Okay. So when it comes down to processes and rewriting those, that's probably pretty foreign to most. And it's definitely one of the things that is discouraging, because you write it, print it, you give it to everybody, and then it goes in the bottom drawer of their toolbox, and it's never looked at again, right?
Yep.
So then you put it on the Google Drive, you show them how to get on the Google Drive, and yet again, they're just not part of it, and you see them again not following the process, the procedure. So it's one of those things that's very frustrating, because it takes a lot of time.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they don't follow it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. My wife and I wrote a bunch of these things years ago, and they're great documents. They're really well done. And we trained them on when we onboard an employee, we show them all these things. And like I said, they get just kind of filed away. So that's just going to happen, right? It's a challenge. It definitely is.
How often do you find yourself going back through and rewriting and reinvigorating the processes?
That's a hard one to answer. I'm trying to get the business to be more self-managed, right? And give the tools to my manager with some great structure that he can follow. So when you do have a problem, he can reference back to this stuff and use that as the tool to guide whatever situation he's dealing with, right? Whether, let's say, key handling, something simple, and somebody decides that they don't need to follow this, and now he has a guideline to fall back to, right? That's where I see it going. Is there? No, but I think I have a path forward with it.
I see.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, as far as the manager kind of running your day to day, and then you're running the processes for it, is there any sort of like disconnect that you're starting to feel as you become more pulled away from the day to day operations?
No, to be honest, no. I mean, I'm going to go back to the people. I have great people, and they really keep each other in line pretty well.
Right. But I mean, as far as you're writing the process and you're not really overseeing each individual aspect of what's going on, do you find yourself kind of having to fall back on your manager to say, hey, does this process look right? Is this something that would work? Because you're just not able to see as much as you used to be?
Yes and no. When I write process, I try to write them as vague as possible, but still getting what I need out of them, right? And so years ago when I wrote some process, like let's say diagnosing a vehicle, and it would be this ridiculously long process that nobody would follow, right?
Yeah.
And it drives you nuts because it's the right process. This is what works. Do this, and then they don't. And so now I find myself leaving it as vague as possible, but with the constraints I need to get the job done, right? And some of these things, we have non-negotiables. So some of these things are no, you have to lock customers' car doors. If you have this car in the parking lot, it has to be locked. It's non-negotiable. This is how it's going to get done. Anything outside of that, I try to leave just some basic guidelines in place and let the employee do their job, right?
I think that's huge. I think that's a big golden nugget right there, because that is a problem that I have personally, and I've watched also when it comes to some of these procedures and processes I've seen written. You're like, no one's going to follow that, right? Like, it's like step by step by step. Like, yeah, you get to about line 4 or 5. It's like, yeah, I don't need to know, like, to put one foot in front of the other. Like, Are you sure? Right? Like, because there's like that animosity.
I've seen you walk. You need this document.
There's that animosity, right? Or the vindictiveness of like the owner,
yeah.
like, and they're obviously writing it because they're stressed beyond belief. So they're like, well, let me teach you how to wipe your own ass, like, right? Like,
absolutely.
Calm down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then the common sense thing where it's like, you see one problem and you want to write something down right away because someone's lacking common sense.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part for me too, is like, how did you not know that you're supposed to lock cars up? Like, how many times have we told you to keep the window down when it's in the shop and the keys are in the, like,
right.
I got to write this kind of crap down. And it's like, it's really hard to draw that line, right?
It is. Absolutely it is. Yeah.
Like, do I got to write everything? Like,
you didn't tell me, so it's your fault. Yeah.
Right. And then you're like, got to look
Come
inward.
on.
I got to look inwards, and maybe it's something I did. It's my lack of management.
Yeah.
But then the other problem is getting to the point where you can just be able to take the time on it. Because if you're sitting there helping everyone in the shop and you're wrenching every day, you don't have time to like go back and write this shit down.
Yeah, I think that's a self problem. I think most people fall into it. Is you have to staff your business to run itself, right? And then that way you can be working on the things you need to work on as the owner. And most people have a really hard time making that change, right? Because it's a dual problem, right? It's, let's say you are the technician and you're running your business and you're in the technician role and you're diagnosing all the cars. Well, now you're covering a certain amount of expenses, or your income's there, right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, now you need to make less money and hire somebody to do that. That's a huge jump, right?
It's true. It feels like a step backwards.
It does, right? And I did it, and actually I made more money doing it this way, right? And it was easier for me. But it took a leap of faith. It was rough, yeah.
Well, every time you do that, and to kind of circle back to the coaching aspect of it, sometimes you get this advice and it's just not making any damn sense.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you just want dollar for dollar. You want everything to be metric and attainable and an ROI on every single thing you do. And I mean, how do you feel about that? Like, is there an absolute ROI on every single thing you do, or sometimes you just got to sacrifice for the greater good?
So, both. I mean, to be honest, so it's both. For example, coaching, right? Or group 6 or the group process.
Yeah.
We're not having this past couple months are not the best months for us, right? Looking at expenses, and coaching is expensive.
Yeah.
And my wife and I were having a conversation last week, and it was like, well, where can we cut some things back? Maybe it's the group. And my conversation with her went, no, that's the stuff that keeps us focused on making sure the business is moving in the right direction. Now, can I say that this is going to gain me $10 or $100 or whatever the number is? No, but I do know if I don't keep focused that I go backwards, and I have no idea how far backwards I go, right? And so it's hard to put a value on some of these things, right?
Yeah.
It's every time you go to training, whether it be a group process, a one-on-one coaching, a class, whatever, you always pick up something, and it's collecting all these nuggets to put together to keep moving forward, right?
I think it's like an intrinsic value.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like you can't really put, the dollar behind it, but it's going to be there eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like training's that way too, because you might not be working on a Tesla when you get back to the shop.
Yeah.
You might not have one for the next 6 months, but when it comes in, you got a little bit of, hey, wait a second, I remember something about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like the same way with training, with education, just constantly trying to make sure, even though you're not working on it, you have the knowledge if it comes. And I think that a lot of the big problem that I see is everyone always wants the problem solved now. Yeah. And I do too.
Right? Oh, absolutely. We all do.
Like I have an employment problem. I need people. Like, how do I find people right now? Like, well, you should have been doing that a year ago. Yeah. Well, that doesn't help me now. I need
it's too late. Yeah. How much money does it take to solve this problem? I will pay it now.
Can't help you like that, right?
Exactly. Like, I don't like this anymore.
And that's obviously something that you still struggle with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as we always will. But like you said, being, as long as you've been doing it, you kind of got that callus built up.
Yeah.
You understand, like, problems are going to come up, and now I got to put that on my to-do list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm successful, but I also always have that underlying feeling that I have a house of cards that I've built. Because we're a small shop. There's only, myself and 5 other employees. And so everybody's a key employee at some point, right?
Yeah.
And so you always have that nervousness of, okay, is everybody happy? Is everybody content? Is this thing working well? And it's,
you just like struck a chord with me, dude.
Right?
I mean, honestly, because it's like it always feels like the other foot's about to drop.
Always, yeah.
You have like $150,000 a month, right? Or you finally break that $1 million, and you're like, well, we'll enjoy it while it lasts. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
And it's like, is that bitter? Is that like
you see like there is that animation of a guy being the process of success, and he's climbing the ladder, those stairs, then he falls back down, he climbs and climbs and climbs and falls back down and climbs and climbs. That's how it is, right? We're always, hopefully you're working more further and further up the ladder every time, right?
Well, yeah, hopefully the step you fall back to isn't the bottom one.
Yeah.
But sometimes it always could be, right?
It feels like it, yeah. It feels like it's always like you're about to step off the edge, and who knows how far you're falling.
Oh, man, I thought that would go away after a while. It doesn't?
It's still there. You just learn to deal with it better.
That's kind of depressing to think about. Just constantly waiting for the negative thing to happen. Yeah. I guess that could be a mental shift, though. I guess that's one of those things where you got to focus on yourself and just be grateful that you're in a better place than you were. I mean, like for me, so the coaching process we have in the last 2 years we spent, it's difficult for me to look back to the person I was before I started that, right? And can I really attest to all of that growth being just strictly because of coaching, or am I just growing as a person?
Both.
Or is it or is it all the books I read, or is it all the people I talked to on this podcast? Like, there's so many like tiny little things that go, but yeah, if you take one piece of that pie out, like I wouldn't have got to where I am, right? But it's just interesting and it just doesn't shift your story about realizing that you need to, like, sometimes you have those moments that click, and then but for the most part it's just this slow process, right?
Painfully slow.
It's like growing a beard or something, right? Yeah. Like all of a sudden one day you're like, holy crap, look, I look homeless. That happened. I'm gonna trim it up a little bit, right? And it's just interesting, and that's I can attest that to coaching. So in 2 years we've definitely not the same person I was, right? The way I look at things. But am I better off? And that's the hardest thing, because everyone wants to do the ROI. They want that coaching process, and they want to say, I went from here and I did, $500,000, and now I'm doing $1.5 million, all thanks to coaching. And it's like, that's such a weird, like, thing to like think, like, how can you get it from here to here? And you had brought up some other coaching programs, and that's what they promise, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll take your business from $500,000 to $1.5 million.
We're going to show you the process. You're going to do these 5 things, and you're going to be rich. Yeah. And not going to happen this way.
Yeah, the quick, and that's what sells, because that's what we all want. That's what our brain wants, right? Yep. It's like, I want that evolution in that.
Yeah.
But like, as we're talking here, and I'm nowhere near got the experience that you have, but we're kind of relating on the same topics, and it just kind of just seems like it's just that revolving pattern. You're going to have problems that you're just never going to be able to solve, but at least you can, put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah. Like you said, you're not the same person you were 2 years ago, and I wasn't the same person I was 10 years ago. it's funny because Woody, the guy I bought the shop from, him and I were talking one afternoon, and he's like, "You've changed. You are a completely different person than you were 5 years ago," and you don't see it in yourself because you're just doing your thing. You're listening to self-help things and different podcasts and taking training and all these things. You're growing as a person. You don't get to see it. Other people might see it in you more than you see it in yourself sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think that's like the biggest growing pain is not realizing and not feeling like you've moved.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, am I still standing still? Am I still dealing with these same damn problems?
Yeah, I go to the same buildings I've always gone to. I live in the same house. Like, what? Where's all this? Why am I not seeing all these successes?
And I think that goes back to like always waiting for the other foot to drop, because like you still feel like that scared kid on day one when you put the key in the door to open your shop, right?
Yeah.
Like that fear, from what it sounds like, never really goes away.
It gets easier.
But is that like a driving force though? Like, does that anxiety, like if that was completely gone, do you think you would still be coming to these events? Do you think you would even care to keep the knowledge flowing?
I don't know. It's a tough one, right? I think it gets easier, right? I think that's the biggest thing I've learned, because years ago I had another manager, and he was a great guy, and I wasn't ready for his level, right? I wasn't prepared enough for what he was delivering. And I always had this uncomfortable feeling with him and I. And to be fair, he did a fantastic job, and it was me. And I always would go to work, and when I show up, I was always listening to the phone calls, expecting an upset customer. I was always expecting this problem that never existed, right? And now I don't have that. Now I'm like, if there's a problem, I'm sure my staff did the best they possibly could. And for whatever reason, we couldn't make that person happy. It's just a mind shift that happens, right?
When exactly? When is this going to happen?
Along the way, a part of the journey.
Another one that strikes a chord with me, because it's like, you see the email, or you see the Google, hey, so-and-so posted a review, and you just instantly like, here we go again, right? Another 1-star, right? Or you got a chat, right? Like someone's messaging the program and like, who's upset? Like on Monday morning, like anxiety, right? Like, so then you just wait till noon to open that one.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm always trying to make sure I'm connected to my business. And so our CRM program, I get all the messages from the customers all get sent to me, right? And now granted, they're also sent to my manager and my service advisor. So they're actually going to answer them, but it's how I keep in touch. Like, do we have upset people? And so it's always my way to kind of keep the finger in the pulse if the business is going well. Are we upsetting people or not? And
man, that's a scary thing.
Absolutely, it is, right?
Do you think that's exposure therapy?
Must be.
It's gotta be, right?
Yeah.
That's the last thing in the world. I turned off my Google on my phone. Like, if someone leaves a review, I'll just, when I get to the email, I'll check it, because I used to have the alerts on my phone too. I'm like, I just couldn't deal with it. And not that I was getting bad ones, but I was just like,
absolutely,
oh,
right?
It's a 5-star. But like, I look at it and I'm like, oh God, here we go. And I look, I'm like, oh, someone's happy. Interesting. And then you get another one's like, oh, okay, this one definitely is going to be, oh, another one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do this roller coaster anymore, man. This is an emotional roller coaster. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But I mean, keeping in tabs, I mean, that's got to.
Yeah. Well, it does a couple things for me. It allows me to know what's going on in the shop. And then when there is something upset, most often the staff handles it, and I'm not involved at all. But I do get that moment where I go and talk about it with them, like, hey, how did this get handled? How do we get here? How did this handle? So they know that I know, right? And it makes it helps them stay focused.
Do you find value in those negative reviews, though?
Most often not.
Okay.
I mean, most often it is somebody that is the wrong customer, or they're just weird. They're mad about something that I'm like, what is wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
Every once in a while you get somebody like, I earned that. Our business, we earned that. We did exactly what they said. That sucks.
Do you find any value in those specific ones? Because obviously the first thing, like instinctually, is you want to like
lash at them,
right back at them, right?
Yeah.
And I've realized going through some of my older ones and seeing them, I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like, and that's one of those growing phases too. I've seen like, oh, we really did screw it back then. But I remember my reaction when that guy left that review. I was like, we did nothing wrong. But it's like, but in the growth that we've had, I can look back and say, oh, you know what? We did really kind of screw up. And I've reached back to people like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like, and I'll just privately message them, hey, sorry about that. We did really kind of screw up.
That's good. That's good on you. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I totally understand. If I go back and read my reviews from 5 years ago, oh man, we probably earned more of them. Or 10 years ago, it's like, oh yeah, we really were not on the game we are now, right?
Right.
It's harder to read those ones, and the ones now, nah, if you're not really happy with us, you're probably wrong.
It's just when I had that eye-opening moment, I just start realizing like, well, where am I going to be in 5 years or 10 years from now? And then without putting a whole lot of stock in the crazies, like you got to kind of try. But it's like, well, hold on a second. In 5 years, am I going to reread this review and be like, you know what? We weren't on the game that we are in 5 years. So I'm just, at the point where I'm just growing, and it's like, man, I just don't know what I don't know. But having that reflection for me was a big deal. Like, it was like, damn, I am not like anywhere near where I was back there. And then try to pull them back as a client too. Like, well, if I can make them happy, even though they're mad enough to go on a public forum and leave me a bad review, they would be a customer for life. But do you want that person back?
Most often not, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't want you mad, but I don't want you back either, right?
So getting down to the end of this thing, I want to kind of recap on the coaching. Is there any sort of advice you could give to someone if they are at Apex or just in the process of looking for coaching or looking for help? Is there any sort of tidbits or advice you could give from what you've been through with the different companies?
Yeah. You need to talk to all of them. I mean, I think all the companies offer something different. I mean, I've actually been through a lot of them at this point in my life. And they're all different. They all have good value, but some don't resonate with me or resonate with some other business, and others resonate perfectly. You got to find the one that fits you. The most importantly, though, is you have to be ready to make the changes, right? It can't be, you can have all the great advice in the world, and if you're not ready to take it, it doesn't matter. And I can tell you, it's like Cecil gave me some advice years ago. He's like, you're screwing up because you don't understand. You're in the people business, the customer service business. You're not in the car fixing business. And I'm like, this is crazy talk. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And now I have a sign in my shop that says, we are in the customer service business. It was like, I wasn't ready, right? And that's where the biggest challenge is. And like I said, everybody wants return on investment. I'm ready. I'll buy it now. How much is it? What do I get? And it's not that easy.
A lot of it's yourself, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta look inwards and say, what are you willing to do? And then ask yourself the hard questions of like, what is it that you really want? Yeah. You feel like a lot of them get stuck in those coaching programs because they have no idea what they want.
Everybody's looking for the magic bullet, right? And it's just not out there.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
No.
You can't get it.
No.
Well, Larry, I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And all your insight.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of knowledge right here.
Doesn't feel like it.
That never goes away either, huh?
No.
And you're located just north of me in Vacaville.
Yeah.
North. I didn't screw it up this time. I don't know why I kept thinking you were south, but
there's too many. There's a bunch.
I think I was thinking about Victorville. For whatever reason, my brain was. I know.
It's close.
Sorry, I didn't. No, it's not. It's not even.
Well, the name's close. The V.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm trying to give you a pass on it. Okay.
And it's called Motoring Specialist.
You got it.
And you're a Euro shop.
Yep. Yeah. We do a little bit of everything, but we're really more focused on the Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagens.
Nice. So if you're ever up in that area and you have one of those, I don't know why you drive one of those vehicles, but if you do, Larry's your man.
Take care of you.
Thanks again, Larry.
Thank you.